This was just another day of an airbag saving a life. But what you don't see is this tiny thing inside the airbag called MEMS accelerometer. It's the size of the brain of a guy who thinks his female bestie will get him a hot baddie. It's roughly 1 to 5 millimeters in size. This component handled the mechanics behind this trigger, but sadly, it's just like you. Does the critical job, but never gets the credit for it, just because it wasn't visible. The tiniest things in the world play a far bigger role than we realize. 9 of them have saved millions of lives, maybe even yours, and you don't even know it did. Imagine a car moving at high speed. Everything feels normal, but then something unexpected happens and the car collides. At that moment, there is no time for human reaction, and yet, within milliseconds, a system responds to protect the people inside. The one that has saved thousands of lives till now. That response starts with a tiny superhero, MEMS accelerometer. It's a tiny sensor that continuously measures acceleration, the change in speed. The internal structures inside MEMS devices are extremely small, typically ranging from 1 to 100 micrometers, which is about the size of fine dust particles or much thinner than a human hair. The complete MEMS chip itself is usually around 1 to 5 millimeters in size. When you drive normally, everything stays within a safe range, but in a crash, the deceleration is sudden and extreme. The moment it detects that force, it sends a signal to the airbag system. That signal activates something called the airbag squib. It's a small device that instantly triggers the airbag to inflate. The airbag squib is around 11 to 20 millimeters in outer size. Here, timing is everything. Too early, it won't help. Too late, it won't matter. But at the exact right moment, it creates a cushion that reduces the impact and helps prevent serious injuries. After an airbag deploys, you should stop the car and seek medical help, unless you've just missed a call from your dad and he sounded angry. Just trying to make you smile, because right now, the world is depressed as hell. The chaos in the Gulf is dominating everyone's headlines. What they fear the most isn't their refineries getting destroyed, but something that has been keeping their population alive. This is thin film polyamide membrane. It's almost 350 times thinner than your single hair. Of course, it's not applicable to this doctor, plumber, and astronaut, but the job it does provides fresh water to millions of people who have almost no fresh water in their country. In the Gulf countries, they're facing the same problem, except they have something special, seawater, so they can just dip a glass to take out water and enjoy a delicious drink. Of course that's not possible because of the salt content. So someone came up with this innovation, a desalination plant. It converts seawater into usable water. The infrastructure is huge, but in the background, one tiny thing is actually doing all the magic. This is a thin film polyamide membrane. This is an ultra-thin layer, almost microscopic. It says goodbye to most contaminants like salts and bacteria and allows only water molecules to pass through it because its pores are extremely small. But the bad news is, if you want to thank it face to face, you can't. The thickness of this membrane is around 0.2 micrometers. To imagine that, if a human hair were as thick as a tall building, this membrane would be like a single, thin sheet of paper placed against it. Think for a second, it's almost invisible in comparison. It is the core of reverse osmosis systems, which are used to purify water by removing harmful impurities. Water is pushed through this membrane under pressure, and what comes out on the other side is clean, drinkable water. And millions of people depend on this technology every single day for safe drinking water. That's a hell lot of information. Just take a deep breath to relax. If you just did it, then you're insanely lucky, because for thousands, breathing is not something their bodies can manage on their own. Lung damage, muscle failure, or medical conditions can make their life a living hell. So this machine came to their rescue, the ventilator. You have heard its name thousands of times, but this section is not about ventilator. It's about the hidden system that is actually doing the critical job. Inside a ventilator, this small sensor measures air pressure with extreme precision. It's called the ventilator pressure sensor. Its job is to ensure that every breath delivered to a patient is at the correct pressure and volume, because too much pressure can damage the lungs, while too little may not provide enough oxygen. It's tiny, but what's even tinier are the chances of your friend becoming a millionaire from a $99 course that teaches how to become a millionaire. These sensors are around 12 to 19 millimeters wide and about a centimeter thick, roughly the size of a shirt button, but thicker, like stacking several coins together. They often come in small, cylindrical packages. It constantly monitors and adjusts the airflow, making sure the breathing support remains safe and effective. The world depends on tiny things we don't ever realize exist. Billions of us can't imagine life without it, and millions of them literally can't survive without it, even for a second. Right now, inside someone's body, there's a tiny metal mesh keeping them alive. Even though the person has no idea it's there, if it disappears, someone loses their loved ones in no time. It's a tiny mesh-like tube. Roughly the size of the tube is usually just around 2 to 5 millimeters in diameter. This is almost similar to a matchstick head. This small structure is placed inside the arteries, the pathways that carry blood, oxygen, and nutrients throughout the body. You can think of arteries like highways that keep everything moving smoothly. But over time, these pathways can start to narrow. But who did this damage to him? Well, most likely the person himself. Blame their favorite cheeseburger, fries, pizza, soft drinks, and Netflix shows. Fat, cholesterol, and other substances slowly build up along the walls. It reduces the space through which blood can flow. And when this happens in the arteries connected to the heart, the consequences can be extremely dangerous. Reduced blood flow can lead to chest pain, and in more serious cases, it can trigger a heart attack. So doctors insert this tiny mesh tube into the blocked artery and expand it at the exact location where the blockage exists. It holds the artery open, making sure blood keeps flowing without interruption. Once fixed, these people can double the cheese in their burgers and enjoy. Just joking. I want to bully them into eating healthy and taking care of their health. Once expanded, it presses against the artery walls and holds the pathway open, allowing blood to flow normally again. It is so small, but the impact is enormous. It is able to restore the flow of oxygen to the heart and prevent a potentially fatal event. But if it fails, or if the artery closes again, the consequences can be immediate and severe. Blood flow can stop, and within minutes, the situation can turn critical. But not every component works by fixing something in the body. Some of them operate by controlling something we usually take for granted. It's the thing your girlfriend wants from you. I mean, even your boss and friends want it from you. That thing is time, not something you imagined, but time not in terms of hours or minutes, but in incredibly precise fractions of a second. Every device needs this timing to know when to act, how fast to process data, and how to stay in sync. In everyday gadgets, this simply keeps things running smoothly. But in critical systems like ventilators, infusion pumps, and monitoring equipment, timing becomes life-critical. Even a small error can lead to incorrect readings or improper operation. In communication and navigation systems, accurate timing ensures signals are sent and received correctly. If the tiny component that controls them fails, systems can get out of sync, data can become unreliable, and serious consequences can follow. What controls them is called a quartz oscillator. It's a tiny electronic component, just a few millimeters in size, small enough to sit on your fingernail. It's found inside watches, smartphones, medical devices, and communication systems. But the magic happens inside the component. Inside it, a small quartz crystal vibrates at a very precise frequency when electricity is applied, creating a stable timing signal that systems rely on. The next component has saved millions of lives. It's so common, you might know someone who is alive because of it. Most people are familiar with pacemakers, devices that help control irregular heart rhythms. Traditionally, these devices use wires, called leads, to connect the pacemaker to the heart. While effective, those wires can sometimes cause complications over time. But its new version removes those wires completely. The entire device is packed into a tiny capsule that sits directly inside the heart. The size of a leadless pacemaker is roughly the size of a large vitamin capsule. One thing that plays a critical role is a leadless pacemaker microchip. Inside this small device is a microchip that acts like a constant observer. It monitors the heart's rhythm in real time, tracking every beat and identifying even the smallest irregularity. The moment it detects that the heart is beating too slowly or inconsistently, it sends a controlled electrical pulse to correct it. This correction happens almost instantly, often before the person even realizes something was wrong. This becomes extremely important because when the heart slows down too much, the body doesn't receive enough oxygen-rich blood. This can lead to dizziness, fainting, or, in serious cases, dangerous heart rhythm problems. The entire system sits inside the heart, working continuously without interruption, allowing people to live normal, active lives. Certain systems around us never wait for something to happen. They behave as if something might happen at any moment. They are always watching and always ready to react faster than we ever could. In most homes, there are photoelectric smoke detector sensors. But inside a smoke detector, there is a small light source, usually an LED, and a photodetector is placed at specific angles, so that under normal conditions, the light never reaches the sensor. But the moment smoke enters the chamber, it scatters the light in different directions. Some of that scattered light hits the sensor, which immediately triggers the alarm. The photoelectric smoke detector unit itself is typically around 105 by 45 millimeters in size, which is roughly the size of a small TV remote or a compact power bank mounted on your ceiling. This allows the system to detect fire at a very early stage, often before flames are even visible, giving people the time they need to react and escape. But some detectors use a completely different method, involving a tiny radioactive component known as an Americium-241 button. The actual radioactive disc inside it is extremely small, about 2 millimeters in diameter, which is roughly the size of a pinhead. This disc is mounted inside a protective metal button that is about 6 millimeters in diameter, similar in size to a small shirt button. This component emits a very small amount of radiation that ionizes the air inside the detector, allowing a constant electrical current to flow. When smoke enters, it disrupts this current, which then triggers the alarm. Two different methods, but with the same purpose of detecting danger before you even realize it exists. But in some cases, people know it exists, but long ago, they were not able to do anything about it. Millions of people around the world are living with diabetes. There's a good chance you already know someone dealing with it, maybe a friend, someone in your family, or even your parents. And for them, maintaining blood sugar levels has to be managed constantly, every single day. That's where something incredibly small steps in to help: the continuous glucose monitor and the insulin pump. They're roughly the size of a small matchbox. For people with diabetes, blood sugar levels can rise or fall unpredictably, which can become dangerous if not managed properly. The continuous glucose monitor uses a tiny sensor placed under the skin to track glucose levels in real time. This data is sent to the insulin pump, where a built-in microcontroller processes the information and determines how much insulin is needed. Based on this, the system delivers insulin either automatically or with minimal input. This greatly reduces the risk of sudden spikes or drops in blood sugar and helps people maintain more stable levels throughout the day. And all of this happens continuously, with remarkable precision. Every moment when you press something, touch something, or even apply force without realizing it. But how does a machine understand that anything has changed? It doesn't see or feel things the way we do. So for it to react, something has to convert that physical action into a signal it can understand. And that role is handled by the piezoelectric pressure transducer. This device works by converting physical pressure into an electrical signal. When certain materials inside it experience mechanical stress, they generate a small electrical charge. This allows systems to detect changes in pressure and respond accordingly. The size of this component is typically around the size of a thin matchstick. These sensors are used in medical equipment, industrial systems, and many safety-critical applications where accurate pressure monitoring is essential. Without this ability to convert physical changes into data, machines would have no way of understanding what is happening around them. And without that, maintaining safety would become extremely difficult. At the same time, these microcomponents are continuously operating in the background, monitoring critical parameters and maintaining systems within safe operating limits. They regulate heart rhythms, control airflow, detect particulate changes in the air, measure pressure variations, and process real-time data to have accurate responses. The moment any parameter begins to deviate, these systems respond instantly, correcting the imbalance before it escalates. Because in critical systems, even the smallest delay or inaccuracy can lead to serious consequences. While their presence often goes unnoticed, their role is constant and precise, making sure that potential failures are detected early and controlled before they become life-threatening.